The wind was colder than usual that night. It was a silent kind of cold, not the one that makes you shiver, but the one that makes your soul ache. Alina Vale sat alone by the window, her chin resting on her knees. Outside, the world continued spinning. Cars hummed on distant roads, neon lights blinked without emotion, and the moon watched, silent and unblinking. She had just turned 16, but her heart felt ancient. No parents, no friends, just memories of abandonment and pity. People saw her beauty and expected perfection. Fair skin like untouched snow, eyes like deep oceans, and hair soft as brown silk. But beauty was a curse when no one stayed to protect it. She lived in a small rented room given by a distant relative who barely remembered she existed. Every day was survival. Every night she whispered wishes to the sky. I want to disappear. I want to live somewhere else. Somewhere I'm not hated. Somewhere I'm loved. She didn't know the stars were listening. That night, as her tears soaked her pillow, something shifted in the air. A soft pink mist crept under the door. The moonlight turned rosier. The world around her began to melt like a dream. And just before her eyes closed, she heard it, a deep, echoing voice, tender yet chilling. Alina, come to me! When she opened her eyes, the pain was gone. The ceiling had vanished. Above her stretched a pink sky swirled with lavender clouds. The ground beneath her was soft like cotton. The scent of blooming strawberries filled the air. She sat up slowly, confused. Her tiny rented room was gone. Before her stood an endless field of pink grass dotted with glowing mushrooms and silver butterflies. Trees sparkled like crystal. Rivers flowed in soft blush tones. It was impossible. Was this heaven? Was she dead? But then she heard laughter. Childlike, echoing, distant. In the sky, giant floating whales made of clouds sang lullabies. Hello Kitty-like creatures played tag with tiny unicorns. Somewhere far ahead, towers made of diamond and candy stood glowing under twin moons. Alina was dreaming, but it felt more real than anything she'd known. And then she felt it, a gaze. She turned. There, standing at the edge of a floating hill, stood a figure, tall, shadowed, wearing a cloak that rippled like smoke. His eyes glowed, not red, not blue, but shifting between galaxies. He stepped forward. Don't be afraid, he said. His voice was velvet and gravity. You are safe. This is your world now. He called himself Drevan, King of Dreams, but in truth he was an incubus, a creature born of shadows and seduction, feared in all realms. Yet, he was different. He didn't touch her, didn't chase her, he simply knelt. I've watched your pain for years, felt your cries in the spaces between dreams. While your world hated you, I fell in love with you. Why me? Because your soul is kind, and, no one ever told you. He opened his palm. A flower grew instantly, made of light and memory. It pulsed with her laughter from childhood. This world is not mine. I made it for you. And then he vanished. Days passed. Or maybe it was just hours, honestly. Time didn't really work here. I explored the pink planet, and well, I was gifted this smart palace. It had 4 giant bedrooms, glowing walls, air conditioning, TV, Wi-Fi, and, endless food. The servants? They were these kind AI creatures, all with angelic designs. I also visited these magical villages, where every house had its own talking tree. I met a baby dragon that purred just like a kitten, which was, wow, adorable. I even floated in underwater cities with mermaids who played piano. There was no money here. People traded broken things for new ones, and honestly, I lived like a queen. I slept peacefully, ate as much as I wanted, no weight gain, no aging. Every night at midnight my body just, reset to perfection. And, every time she closed her eyes, Drevan visited. He gave her starlight in jars, braided flowers into her hair, watched her sleep from afar. She was falling in love, slowly, terribly. One evening the dream world was celebrating bloom season, when every flower opened at once and whispered poems into the air. Alina wore a dress spun from cloud threads. As she walked by the river, Drevan appeared behind her. "You miss your world," he said softly. She looked down. "Sometimes I hear their voices." He touched her cheek gently. "You are dying, Alina. Your body sleeps, but your soul lives here. If you return, I may lose you." Tears welled in her eyes. "Stay," he whispered. "Be mine. Let me love you forever." She took his hand. Yes. Years passed in moments. Alina and Drevan lived as king and queen of dreams. The palace expanded. Their love became legend. And then, the impossible happened. Alina gave birth to 4 children, each born from the seasons of the dream. Lyria, Bloom, a daughter with petal wings and a healing touch. Kale, Twilight, a silent boy who painted with light. Ruin, Rain, a mischief maker who could fly. And Seren, Winter, a calm girl who froze time with a breath. They grew faster than human children, glowing with a magic unknown even to Drevan. They called Alina Amma and, their laughter turned the skies into symphonies. But sometimes, the sky turned grey. Alina would hear voices, doctors from the real world. One would say, "Her coma is stable." Another would add, "We might lose her." And then, quietly, a third voice would say, "No brain activity." The dream trembled. Drevan begged her, terrified, saying, "Don't go. If you leave, I vanish. This world will dissolve." Alina stood on the edge of her dream cliff, her children behind her, Drevan holding her hand. She looked at her life and jumped into the dream. Alina sealed her soul in the dream world. She never woke again in the real world. Her earthly body was buried quietly, but here, she thrived. The pink planet crowned her queen eternal. Her children grew to guide the 5 magical seasons. Drevan stood beside her as the perfect husband, loving, loyal, powerful, and hers. And every night the dreamers of Earth whispered her name without knowing why, as if remembering a girl who once cried under a broken moon. There once was a girl who had no one, until a dream fell in love with her. The end.